A shout out to our podcast sponsor, sportssponsorship.co.uk. If you or your business are interested in making a real difference to the Scottish game, supporting hundreds of kids into regular football, get in touch with sportssponsorship.co.uk and they'll find the right fit for your brand.
Blazer and t-shirt, eh? Blazer and
No,
jumper?
Blazer and jumper. Yes, it's the Eric Ten Hag approach. They actually call me, I say they, two people in my work call me Tommy Five Hag
Oh,
because the bald, the beard, the blazer, and the jumper.
What's on the
Hey.
bottom half of your
yeah, I was going to
body?
ask about that.
Trackies
Some black jeans.
and shoes?
And shoes.
Yeah. Pundit shoes?
Today it was some white kind of pumps. I don't know what you call
Pumps!
them.
Oh my god, he's an American. Look at him with sports coat and his white trainers.
Yeah, it's pretty
Get my
cringe.
pumps on, man.
I don't know what you call them. Just white shoes. I've owned my
Tennis
first ever
shoes.
pair of white shoes last year when I bought them. Yeah, but I never had one.
You had white shoes before.
Don't think so. Nah, I could never be arsed cleaning them. And
You don't have to
turns
clean
out
your white
I've
shoes. Or
I've owned
nerds.
these for a year and I've not cleaned them once.
Good.
So
Good man.
I was scared for nothing.
Nah.
Scared
To
for
walk a
nothing.
river in them, did you?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Then, ruined my
When
tennis
Matt-
shoes.
Matt and I were in Madrid. Went for like just a walk in a
Weird
river.
walk,
well,
yeah.
did you go? Did you walk in the river?
You went in the river. We had to walk over the river at one point because we couldn't go back. So I had to walk in
Oh,
my
yeah.
shoes in the river. They were nice tennis shoes. They were
That was a
never
good
the
day.
same.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, the chocolate. A funny story if you're interested in a funny story.
Go
Happened
for
to
it.
me today. Well, it was washing machine based. Well, it starts off rather dull. The washing machine wasn't draining, so I was like, "Why isn't it draining?" So I just googled it and that, and Magda was like, "Oh, would you call like washing machine expert?" I was like, "No, I'm telling you, there's a small child's sock stuck in the filter. I guarantee it." Right? So I'm trying to. So I open the filter at the bottom. I'm trying to get this filter off. It's like jammed. So there's like clearly something stuck around the thing. So I'm fucking jamming it with a screwdriver for about 2 hours, like scraping it open. I had like a pan or like a sort of bowl to catch the water, right? But in my sort of struggles, I'd moved the bowl out of the way. So I got really excited. I'm like, fuck me, I've got this. I managed to pull it out, and nothing happened. So I was like, what the fuck's going on? So like, I got really excited. I saw the sock. So I pulled the sock out. And in my excitement and haste to get the sock out, I was like, yes, come on. Then the water just started pissing out all over the floor. All over me. All over the bathroom. I was like, ah. I'd like launched the filter away in like celebration, so I had to go grab the filter, screw it back on. Then I was fucking mopping for about 2 hours to clean the water up. So there you go. And there was a
grim.
small sock in there. Fucking knew it.
But you fixed it though.
I did fix it. Yeah, I made a
There you go.
small sock down the filter. Lesson of the story is don't get too excited, and keep the filter nearby. Don't be too triumphant in
man, eh?
your success
Jeez, oh.
stories. So yeah, I was very wet, and the kitchen was really flooded because all the water was still in the machine. It was pissing out, and it was all disgusting and brown. But it's all clean now, and the sock is in the bin. Sorry, Marley, mate. Just go with one sock. Bless you, later.
See, at the start when you said you had a funny story.
Yeah. Oh come on, that was quite funny. I was all wet, slipping about in that, fucking Bambi on water.
Bambi on water, yeah.
You know.
As the
And
famous
I
phrase
also
goes.
saw Bluey yesterday
Title of
on a
this.
train in Bo'ness. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Absolute scandal, mate. Absolute rip off.
Really?
Absolute fucking rip off. It's like 20 odd quid for an adult and like 12.50 for a kid. And it was like the Bo'ness train, the old train that goes like along Bo'ness and that. It was marketed as a Bluey experience. Basically, you turn up, they give you a Bluey book. You go on this old train. There's no other Bluey sort of chat or no Bluey decorations. You go along
Just
on
a
the
train.
train, 15 minutes, come back on the train, and then there's just this giant Bluey there at the platform that you can take a photo for 2 minutes, and that was it for 22 bar. I was sick.
Christ.
Well,
Oh, that's
the kids
brutal.
got a train-shaped gingerbread and a orange juice. Fucking scandalous. And then the chick asked for donations at the end. Like, fuck you, mate, screw me with £22 again, you nothing.
Can't put a price on memories, fella.
To be fair,
That's
we did go to the model train bit after, and they put like little Bluey toys on the train, which was quite cool. Kids loved it, idiots, but it was I was spewing.
I went to the Highland Show on the weekend to go and see Tractor Ted.
Yeah. How was that?
But the kid fell asleep and didn't even get to see him. And I had to pretend it wasn't for me. I was like,
Just
yeah.
you attracted to it, like shoot the shit.
So absolutely desperate to see it. Like, there's an old, I can't remember his name, but it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched Tractor Ted, but there's like this old guy on it. It's so annoying. I can't remember his name, but
Tractor.
he's like the worst actor of all time. He's like, he's like, oh, he can't find his keys, and he's just like got his keys like hanging out his back pocket, and it's like zooming into his butt like for ages, like, oh, there's my keys. Like, it's just like, it's such a bad show, but I love it so much. So yeah, I was really desperate to see that guy and get a wee selfie, but never happened. So shattered
What
dreams.
selfie?
Instead,
Farquhar.
see some cows and that.
Yeah, just the
livestock.
usual. Ate loads of stuff, and
I was gonna say it's all about
that
the
was it.
Scran that
Big
that
time,
show,
yeah.
innit?
Mate, I was
Yeah.
driving to work like on the Thursday, Friday. The traffic was insane. Like it was.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
bad, isn't it?
Did you get a
Yeah,
space
it's
in the
bad.
car park or
Yeah, you have to like book it.
like
so,
£15 or something? Is it not? Or did you get a deal?
I don't know. To be fair, we like booked it like a year ago. So
I'm sick of being ripped off. By the way, honestly, I'm just thinking about that. When you have kids, you just get ripped off all the time. Like
oh,
all
so
the
bad.
time,
Yeah.
the kids just want to see like, but they love it. That's the thing. Yeah, you're just like
I
sitting there
know.
raging. They're having a great day. Like, oh, Bluey! They're like cuddling up to this big giant Bluey and that. And I'm just,
Just Neil in a costume.
yeah, it's just a
Exactly.
little man there, small man or a child.
Have you ever considered being a mascot, Matthew? I feel like you'd be a good either mascot or Bluey, for example.
Well,
I think
me and
Kelly
you being
Hearts
of
are looking for one, by the way. So
What's Kelly Hart's animal or whatever?
I think it's pretty
Heart.
open at the moment. So
Not just
Just
a
a
giant
big heart.
No, yeah, big
Could
heart
be you.
with like veins and that.
Could be a big
The
Jammy Dodger.
arteries.
yeah,
No, I've not
Yeah.
thought about that. We're of equivalent height, so we could both play the same sort of role, Tom. Me and you. You know.
One day when we do a meet and greet with our fans,
Mm.
they'll get a selfie with us both in the same photo, and I'll prove to you that I am taller.
No. If you got a vote going, what should Kelly Hart's animal-based mascot be? I'm gonna go for a squid.
Wait, so they don't have a mascot?
I don't. No, not at the moment. I think they've trialed it a couple of times, but
They've never had any sort of
Nev-
man in a
never got
suit
like
or
oh no, they have, yeah, but they've never like had a permanent
oh, like,
What's it been in
Volunteer.
the past, though?
like
What's
Wraith
it?
Rovers got Rory.
pass. I'm not actually sure what it was. There was nothing last season anyway. So apart
What's
from
he-
the Christmas day when there was the Grinch running around and Santa.
And a Kelly Hart.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, the Grinch just like scaring the shit out of all the kids, so they were just like all screaming. But yeah, no. Apart from that, they've not had a regular mascot on the go, so you never know. Maybe we could do it as like a forfeit or something down the line for.
That's it.
Well, actually, I was going to say lost quiz. I was going to say
Yeah,
that, but at the
quiz
same
loser.
time, that then excludes Tom, so it's a bit unfair.
Just make Tom do it
Wow. I mean, joining this every week with you two is a forfeit enough for me.
then.
Banter.
I don't mean that. This is all I have. Without this, I'd be nothing.
Good way to start.
Yeah, don't. I'm not gonna argue with that. Like, that wasn't
Yes,
a
right.
Right,
joke.
let's get cracking. Episode 5, back with the Tin Pot Podcast, a Scottish football podcast with an alternative view. Back with Matt and Andrew. I'm your host, Tom, and we're scraping the barrel this week discussing the European draws for Hibs, Dundee United and Rangers. We'll look at the fixture list that was announced this week, as well as a couple of transfers that have been on the go as well. So that's what's coming up in episode 5. But to ask a more important question, as Meghan Markle was asked quite seriously in her interview this week that's gone viral. Matthew, how are you?
Yeah, doing
Very
well, mate.
important.
Doing well. Looking forward to the
Good.
season starting again. Obviously, Wraith have got their first pre-season friendly on Saturday, I think. So
Who have
comes
you got?
around quick. Linlithgow Rose, I believe,
That's
in the Rose, the Rose Bowl.
about
no,
your level.
the season comes around quick. It's just doesn't seem like it ever stops.
Was it 4 weeks until the start of the
Yeah, they got a month till the
the League Cup groups? Yeah.
League Cup. I know. Don't
Yeah,
mind it,
not
mate.
long.
I don't mind it. Summer's boring without the old football, so interesting to see how things go this season under the Rovers. More
The
to see.
old Rovskis. Andrew, are you any more energy about you today than Matthew? He seems quite down in the dumps.
No, yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah, feeling pretty pumped up. Just yeah, the action's round the corner now, so I think we can see the light. Yeah, looking forward to watching a few friendlies, and then yeah, the cup games start pretty soon, so I'll be nipping up to Kelty Hearts for a few of them. We've got Kilmarnock and Livingston in that group, so so good to have some couple of Premiership teams rather than just Hibs to beat last season. So yeah,
Are they at New Central Park? Are they those big games? Those
we've got Killy at New Central Park. Yeah, Livy, I'm pretty sure is away. So yeah, should be good. Get a good crowd there, and yes, should be a decent day. As I said last time we had Hibs and got a surprise result there, so that was some day. But it was my first day at Kelty actually, so yeah, hoping for some of the same. Let's see.
Yeah, there's only one way to go from beating Hibs in your first game, isn't there?
Well, yeah.
That
Let's
is
not talk
down.
about that.
But I mean, it was a decent season overall. It was a season of two halves, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think those our teams. I was going to say we teams, but that's unfair. The smaller teams tend to see those group stages as cup finals, don't they? Whereas the bigger teams are. Well, you see it with United. They lost to a few smaller teams in their group last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the
I
giant
think
killings are there to be had.
I think the financial implications are still quite big for the big teams actually. When that Hibs result happened, there was huge disappointment, at board level, because it, as I said, it there is actually quite a decent sort of financial incentive to get through, and then obviously the deeper you get into it, then you've got to be in it to win it, kind of thing, don't you? So, but yeah, for the smaller teams, it's difficult because you've got to do your business so quickly. For Kelty Hearts, they've concluded so much business in the market already, so. Hopefully that just gives a little bit of settlement with the squad before those games come around. But yeah, we've got Dunfermline at home as a friendly a week on Saturday, so that'll be a good sort of test to see where that squad kind of is just now. But yeah, lots of preparation games before then, so
You'll be
exciting.
welcoming Lenny up to New Central Park, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. I've welcomed him there a few times actually. So his son was playing in the same league for a wee while, and then
He's dropped down a few levels now, hasn't he? His son.
he has. Yeah, he has. But yeah, no, he came for quite a few games. There's actually quite a few managers that came through. Callum Davidson was through a few times as well. Queen's Park manager at the time, but yeah, he didn't really have any other reason to come through. I think he just obviously just wanted to be, an awesome club taking in some awesome football. But yeah, we've had lots. Dick Campbell was there near the end of the season as well. So yeah, it's you often get managers and ex-players and such like there. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed my my time seeing Kelty. I wasn't at New Central Park sadly, but it was a good game away at Alloa. But talking pre-season friendlies, there was one today behind closed doors at Falkirk, I think, at Falkirk versus Larne. They were the champions in their league, not last season, the season before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, behind closed doors, a 3-2 win for Falkirk. And
Right.
story of the week for me, you've hopefully both seen this to enjoy it as well, was the Dumbarton friendly. Did you read about that?
With the full team of trialists.
Yeah, they named 14 trialists in their squad. Obviously, they're going through turmoil just now. They've gone under sort of the Rangers route of forming as a new company, I think. So aren't able to sign new players officially, and there's a lot of their more senior players are away on holiday. So yeah, they've named 11 trialists and 3 trialists on the bench, and their tweet about it, if you've not seen it, was world class. It's
Yeah,
good meme.
What was the score?
yeah,
do you know?
definitely.
Did they win?
2-0, I think they got beat.
No,
Yeah.
they got beat. So no goals for the trialist family.
That was one of the lines. He's dirty.
Yeah,
Anyway,
their new owner's an interesting guy, isn't he?
Is he
Well,
I don't know if
Canadian?
you've seen
Canadian, is it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen any interviews with him, but yeah, he's
Yeah,
like always
yeah.
just looks like he's just sort of chilling in like a cafe, like
Yeah, I saw the one they did on their
Like-
website. Yeah, he was eating like a sandwich.
yeah. Yeah, it's just, I can't really like. I googled him a fair bit as well.
There's nothing about him.
But I just, he's just a really, he's got a really funny nickname for himself as well, which
Oh, no.
it feels like he's trying to get to sort of catch on here, but it's not really. Doesn't really.
Please
work
tell
out
me you
yet.
can remember it.
No, I can't. It's so annoying.
Aw.
I wasn't expecting to talk about this, obviously, but yeah, he's a really interesting guy.
Big Justice, is it?
Big Justice, that would have been so good. But
Big
I can't
Justice.
remember what it was. But yeah, I'll it'll come to me halfway through this pod, I'm sure.
Was he
But
refer to himself like the third person by his nickname? Like, I don't know.
well, I think like to be fair to him, he hasn't said it in one of the videos that I've seen, but it has been documented a fair bit in all the sort of written media. So
Nice.
it's it just reminds me of like David Brent when he's like Brent mused, and then like comes out with the quote. So yeah, interesting guy, definitely,
Oh, we need more characters like that in the game. 100%.
for sure.
So from Canada to Europe, I think it's probably best to kick off with the big news of the week anyway, from me and your perspective, Andrew, given that we support clubs in Europe, unlike Matthew. The draws for the Conference League, Europa League and Champions League, I think, were made. Champions League draw made? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the dates have been confirmed. Yeah.
Dates are all sorted. So we've got 3 teams who have learned their fate this week. So we'll start with the biggest team first and talk about Dundee United and their draw against Luxembourg's second biggest team, FC Unistrassen. Probably the best draw we could have got, to be honest, out of the possible teams that we could have faced. They've only finished second last year. Before that, I think the highest they'd finished was 5th, only making up their way up into that top league in 2015, from what I've read. A total squad value of about £1 million.
Right.
Wow. So yeah, they're not the best team. 1,500-seater stadium. It'll be interesting to see how many Arabs make the trip. But obviously, with these types of things, I think a lot of them will be, maybe wrongly, but they'll be saving themselves for the next round. I don't want to speak too soon.
he
Could
said it.
have another Progress Niederkorn on our hands.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But yeah, the best draw we could have got, I think. I don't know if you have had a chance to read up on them, Matthew.
No, mate, I'm just focusing on the Challenge Cup and all that sort of thing. I was thinking about the draw of the Challenge Cup, the new format. No, I didn't know who they could have played, but there'll be no stressing with that, I don't think. Comfortable victory for Dundee United, mate. You'd
You'd like
imagine.
to think so. They've got a Brazilian up top, though. So
I did
you
see
never
that
know.
Matthias Souza's his name, yeah. But
Yeah.
like every random European team's got a Brazilian, right? It's got to be just at least one kicking about.
Yeah,
I mean,
staple.
just got to be professional. I don't know. United have had a bit of a lot of players have left, so if they can, depends who you're bringing in, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get on to the transfers
Yeah,
in a
it's
bit.
an
but
interesting
you're-
time for
you're
United.
right.
A lot of squad turnaround, so they're going to be ready in time. You know, they're going to be a cohesive unit. I mean, you should win, but you just have to always watch these banana skins and just be
I
professional.
think
with
if it's a one-leg game, you'd be concerned. If you're going away and you've just got to play them once, then anything can happen. But if you go away, keep it tight. Try and the thing is, you don't want to go away and try and force a big scoreline and try and impress. You just go away and try and get the result and bring it back home.
Yeah.
But it would go down as one of the biggest upsets, I think, in Scottish football in Europe anyway, outside of maybe that Niederkorn game.
Yeah.
I can't see us losing. It would have been nice for. I don't think I'm going to be able to make the trip to Luxembourg, but would have been nice to have there was a Welsh team in it. We had the opportunity to play. I think was it Cliftonville as well, which were closer to home. But No, having looked online at the different responses from United fans, I think we're unanimous in
It'll
saying
be
that
sunny, right, in
it's
Luxembourg in the
it's a good
summer.
draw.
Should be sunny. Get the beers
Yeah, yeah.
flowing. I'm sure there's like
Like I
mountains and
said,
that
I don't
around.
think I'll
Things
make it.
be.
If we make it through and we get a decent draw after that, maybe I could make the trip my first away trip with United. But time will tell. So we're all thinking that's Andrea. Any other thoughts on that? Or is it pretty much
Uh,
a straight
well,
shot?
what games have United got in the run up to the qualifiers? Like what kind of who have you got booked as friendlies to try and sort of prepare for it?
Brecon, maybe we always play Brecon or both these types of teams in like the Forfarshire
Hmm.
Cup.
Hmm.
I think we play Oldham, but I'm not sure if that's after the European Tower before. I'm assuming before. Um, and maybe St Johnston, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
it's
guessing.
enough. It's enough preparation with those types of teams, definitely. Um, for a team of this caliber, anyway. Sounds like you should breeze through it, but obviously, as you said, we'll get onto the transfers later on. But it would, yeah. I don't think there's been enough of. I know there has been a lot of players going out, but I don't think it's United are the most concerning team on that side. So I think that there should be enough there to try and be steady enough, and get yourself through to the next round.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's 3 rounds of fixtures we've got to get through to be able to get there, and there's some of the teams that would face if we got there in that final game are big hitters. So we'll just
Hmm.
ride that train as far as we can. Hibs though have got a much tougher draw. Midtjylland
Yeah.
um, is one of the harder fixtures I think they could have drawn there.
Hmm.
Um, it's one of those where you probably, if you're a Hibs fan, you want to see them go away and try and do your best to grind out a draw and bring it back to Easter Road. They're fortunate that they've got the second leg at home.
Yeah. I mean, they're a team with decent history, against Scottish clubs as well, and always give us a good run for their money, at least. But yeah, I mean, Hibs good form. They've strengthened. They seem in a good place. So I mean, if there was ever a time for Hibs to get this kind of draw, it's now. And at times they can play really exciting football. So yeah, who knows? I think they definitely have a good chance. Actually, I wouldn't say it's an impossible draw. I reckon they could get a result, either home or away. To be honest with you, I don't think it's out with the realms of possibility.
I think it'll be
Uh,
really tough for Hibs. I think
yeah, it
this
will. Yeah.
this is a team that I was reading about. They're backed by the Danish billionaire uh, Poulsen, who owns like all the Highlands in Scotland. Basically, that
All
boy.
right.
I was reading that they've spent like 36 million or something in like the last like transfer window before last, which was the most spent by any Danish team. So they've been bankrolled by that boy like quite a lot. So when you look at the budgets, it's like 4 times larger than Hibs. They've spent 4 million in the last summer on a striker. On their top 5 signings in history have all occurred in the last 4 seasons. So I think they're got bigger plans. So I don't know. I mean, Hibs are decent, but if you're going away first leg and you just don't want to get spanked, I mean, they were pretty strong last season at home in the league, and they did decent in the conference in the Europa League group stages. I think they won 3, lost 3, drew 2. So I don't know. It's a tough ask for Hibs, but if they can keep it tight, get a draw or 1 goal in it, then certainly they can get stuck into them at Easter Road.
I
But
mean,
it's a tough
they're
draw.
playing a team that is of similar caliber to the Old Firm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not far off that, but Hibs actually performed pretty well against the Old Firm. Especially when they got into a decent run. So yeah, that's why I feel slightly optimistic for them.
Yeah, they are
To be
riding a high,
honest, but
as you say, after
yeah,
last season.
it's the best time for them to do it, and I know we're coming on to transfers later, but they have strengthened as well, and sensible transfers in there too. So, yeah, I think they've got a good chance. I think if I was to put my money on it, I I would put money on Hibs actually, to be fair. But that's a bold choice, I
Could we
know.
get some
But
big winnings on that one, mate?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be going down to Scott.
Get down to Scott Bay. I remember get to Stevie's
Yeah.
booking.
You don't-
Or
we're not-
McBookie, or
Or
anyone
Stevie's.
who's
endorsing,
Or Frankie's.
not endorsing our bookies here. It's not the same. It's not the same Michelin team from a few years ago when they were in the Champions League. The team
No.
that beat Celtic. I think that's the last Scottish team that they played. They beat them over 2 legs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that same team. Granted, but Matthew's saying they've spent a lot of money. If I was I've got one saying that Hibs will be victorious. Matthew's saying the opposite. I think I'll side with Matt, go the safe bet. But I'd like to see them get through that. But I always want to see Scottish teams succeed. But I just don't think it's gonna be against them. The good thing is for them, they can obviously drop into Conference League qualifying.
Yeah, definitely.
And they'd be much stronger and more fancied in that pool. So
They deserve
see.
European football. I think based on how they were playing last season, I know obviously it was a season of 2 halves for them, but if they keep that momentum going, Hibs will be really exciting to watch next season. So it would be good to see them juggling a bit of European football, whether it is Europa or Conference. I think they deserve it.
yeah, they finished third for a reason, didn't they? And fair play to them, and fair play to Davy Gray for the job that he did. He was nominated in the Manager of the Year shortlist, but neither of you went for him. So
Nope.
Not quite good enough. Lastly, last European draw that's been made was for your team, Andrew, and from my view, a pretty tough draw.
Yeah, toughest that we could have got, no doubt about that. But look, I mean, Rangers shouldn't be fearing anyone, in Europe. In my opinion, I think that our performance in Europe over the last few years, speaks for itself, and I think that this is an exciting draw. This should be a good, 2-legged tie. I think it will be entertaining. It might be a bit sticky in certain patches because both teams are replenishing. Panathinaikos are in quite a similar sort of situation to Rangers, as far as I understand, that they are having a little bit of a sort of clear out and trying to find their feet in the market again. So there's not a lot of time to prepare for these things when you're having that kind of clear out. But yeah, no, I think it's exciting. It's good. It's when you're having such an early qualifier to be able to attract decent crowds and engage straight away. I think it's great, and it's a big test for Russell Martin very early. It's crazy that a lot of people are saying it could be sort of season defining, which I don't really agree with, but if he gets off to a good start there, it could just sort of help carry him through to a healthy start domestically. But looking at Rangers' performance over the last few years, it doesn't seem to kind of work like that. We seem to excel in Europe, sometimes punch above our weight, and then fail miserably domestically. But I feel optimistic about it. I'm looking forward to it. It is a hard draw, but you've got to be able to beat teams like Panathinaikos if you want to do a half decent job in Europe. So whether that's Champions League or Europa League, who knows? I think Champions League realistically is kind of above our pay grade, effectively. Like, I don't think we really could be competitive there or steady in a group situation, even if we got a favourable draw. There's a lot of rebuilding to do, but one step at a time anyway. It'll be hard, a hard game, fine margins, but yeah, I feel we can do it.
Yeah, these things don't matter too much, but the fact that Panathinaikos have never lost against the Scottish team is maybe a bad omen, and I think the Scottish track record against Greek teams generally, no matter who it is, isn't great. Greece is a tough place to go, pretty intimidating fan base, but like you say, Rangers in Europe are pretty impressive. Matt, do you think Rangers will go through that over the 2 legs, or how do you see it going?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what Rangers are gonna what Rangers are gonna turn what team is gonna turn up. You
Yeah.
know how they're gonna play, what's gonna be like. All you can really guarantee is that Ibrox will be bouncing no matter what in the first leg. So if they can get the momentum going as they have done in European games at home, then I don't see why they can't go to the away leg with a good lead. It'll be tough, but I think they can. I think they'll go through. I think
Pretty incredible if all three of those teams won their ties. Hibs, Rangers, and United, it would be.
some accumulator
I
of
don't
that.
think-
Eh?
I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I'm not sure if that's ever happened.
Come
One
on, I'm
for the
feeling good for the
stats
Scottish
man.
teams this year. I think I think positive atmosphere in Scottish football, the positive vibes. Come on, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna batter all these Europeans. Come on, it's gonna happen. This is the year. There's gonna be no embarrassments. They're gonna get that coefficient.
A rousing speech, mate.
Come on,
Get in the dressing rooms.
get it. Well, played in the dressing rooms before the game.
I
Eh?
think we can win all the games. I think we can do quite well and beat all these teams. Yeah.
Me and Stephen Presley will be getting the troops absolutely buzzing. Eh?
Stephen Presley is not getting in charge of a European fixture anytime soon. But less.
I've never
we've-
I've never managed in Europe before, but I'll try my best.
Pummeled him enough last week. Yeah, talking of the worst signing of the summer so far, let's move on to some transfer window chat. I mean, it's pretty early in the transfer window, isn't it? There's not been a huge amount going on, but a few smart signings. I think I'll kick off with who I think's done the best business so far. I would say Falkirk. It's been minimal, but getting Scott Bain in from Celtic, really really impressive. And you'll need to remind me of the other chap that they've brought in.
Brian
Graham.
Graham, my man, Graham Bryan.
Yeah, Brian Graham, of course. Yeah, the player that a lot of Partick fans are calling a snake.
The former
I
Park
think,
Thistle
yeah.
manager, player, captain, women's manager, all round top goal scorer and handsome chap.
Yeah, apart from my terrible brain fart and remembering who it was, I think they've done pretty well. Not a lot of action from the old firm as of yet. I don't know if there's a reason behind that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. Well, firstly, I would say I actually don't think Falkirk's business has been that good. I think that obviously I praised them in a previous episode of how they handled their business last season and the season before. But I think that personally, I would predict Graham's going to struggle to keep the pace in the Prem. I think getting those numbers in the Championship was incredible, and he brings so much more than just goals. So, in that sense, it's a good for a sort of squad settler. But I think if anyone's expecting him to sort of compete for top goal scorer next season, I can't see that happening.
Well, no one's expecting that. That's not why he's been brought in.
Have kind of read similar to say that people are expecting him to score a barrel load
who's saying that?
season. Well, just fans effectively, but
Well, yeah, but that's just ludicrous. He's not been brought in to be top goal scorer for Falkirk and after they've just been promoted.
well, I would agree absolutely, and I do think that Scott Bain, he must be on fat wages, and
Is he going to be first choice goalkeeper? Or is he just going to be? Obviously, because Hogarth did really well for them last season in
well,
the Championship.
he will be. I think that's what he's expecting. After reading his interview, he moved to, I think it was have his kid and his fiance or wife or whatever, see him playing first team football, which is absolutely fair enough. I think it's a good move for him. I'm just not sure he's really a steady Eddie there at the back. In my opinion, I think he had a great season. I think it was at Dundee ages ago, and since then he's he had a fair few howlers for Celtic, got dropped, and he's never really sort of made his way back in or sort of looked like competing at all. So I don't actually think that'll be. It's obviously it's guesswork at this stage, but I don't actually think that'll be a good signing.
I believe
why
in
we get
John
paid
McGlynn. Come on.
Paid the big bucks. We're here not to do guesswork. We're here to give our professional, expert tin pot opinions. But no, I think the reason I'd singled them out as having been smart is because they've not gone and completely changed their squad. And McGlynn's brought them from League One to the Premiership in 2 seasons by not changing his squad a lot. And I think they've got more business to do. I still think they need a centre half. Carl Donaldson's quite injury prone. I don't think he's that great at the top level. I think they probably need a left back. They probably need someone else in the middle of the park. So I think they'll do more business. But to bring in 2 players who've played at that top level before, Brian Graham, who is he's not going to be top goal scorer by any stretch. Anyone that thinks he is daft. But he'll bring you professionalism. He'll bring you stability. He'll be a great backup if that's the way they want to play it, or he'll be good in rotation. And I think Scott Bain, when you play for Celtic, the pressure, maybe he just couldn't cope with that. He was chucked in, like you say, had a few mistakes and was dropped, and he's been backup keeper to a few different goalies at Celtic. Is he good enough to be a Premiership goalkeeper? In my opinion, I think he is. And to get those 2 players in early doors in the window, I think is pretty smart for a promoted team. When you look at the other promoted team, Livy, and compare it, I think they've signed May on a permanent deal, which is decent.
Zach Rudden, they brought in from Queen's Park.
And yeah, Zach Rudden, a couple of decent signings, but
Can't make here.
Yeah, solid Premier League, previous experience in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Carey.
I'm just still
I
on
think
the
Falkirk create a lot
John
of
McGlynn
chances.
train, clearly.
Falkirk create a lot of chances, and McGlynn plays an attacking football, and they've got fast winners, and they like to move the ball forward. So with Brian Graham, if he starts, he's going to get a lot of chances in that Falkirk team. Whether they continue to play the way they do in every game, it's going to be more difficult, obviously. He can't dominate as much of the ball you wouldn't expect. But they'll try, and I think they've got a good blend of youth and experience in that squad, and they'll be riding the wave of 2 successive promotions.
Yeah.
What Livingston did when they got it up twice a few years back. They stayed in the league for a few years, and they kept the majority of their squad together under. So I think.
Well, they have lost 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
In this window, which is not huge. I mean, if you look at other numbers, I think it was Motherwell. That it was like 18 or something like that. Which is crazy. But they have shed 8 players already. Most of them loan players or free transfers. Run out of contract. So for me, it kind of, I suppose, from a Falkirk perspective, the concern is that, well, are they going to maintain this caliber of signing? Because they will have to sign quite a few players just to obviously replenish the squad. Are they going to maintain that caliber of signing as they move through the window? Because if they do, I do worry that it's too big of a roll of the dice, effectively. They've done pretty smart business in previous windows, so it just doesn't feel very kind of Falkirk, if you like, to be coming up and then making 2 massive signings, which you would have to, surely, with the amount of responsibilities that Brian Graham had around Partick Thistle, surely he was the highest paid player, / member of staff there. So you've taken him away from Partick Thistle. You've then taken Scott Bain from Celtic. Granted, you're not paid a fee there, but he's going to be on big wages. And if any sort of interview that I've seen that Scott Bain do, in the past, I don't think that he would be the type of player to take a huge cut to go somewhere like Falkirk just to play regular football. I just don't think so. So I think they've made 2 massive signings to start with there. It's interesting to see what they do next. If they start to make interesting signings that, perhaps are, a little bit more in keeping with how they've done business over the last couple of seasons, then I think, great, that's fine. But I just worry that balance is maybe not going to be quite right if they keep going at the same sort of pace they're going just now.
Fair enough. We'll not jab too much. We'll just leave it at that. I mean, like you say, there's a lot of window still to go, so
Yeah.
time will tell. But I did hear Scott Bain saying that the reason for moving was first team football, and I'm sure you'll happily take a cut for that. But just to get my final jab back in there before we move on. Always have to have the last word. Any other interesting discussions with regards to transfer market? I think the biggest one of the summer is probably the biggest one so far has probably been Kieran Tierney, but that
Yeah.
to me is just a bit of a waste. I think he has still a lot more to prove down south if he could stay fit, and I think to Celtic it's a bit of a regressive signing compared to what they've brought in before. They're used to bringing in players younger for lower fees and then selling them on, and that's not what Tierney is. I don't know, Matthew, if you've got any thoughts on KT to Celtic.
I mean, he'll be one of their highest earners, or if not the highest earner. And he's going to play
Yeah, probably.
Can he play 45 games a season? I mean, he's been injured for a while, so he came back last season for Arsenal and played a few games towards the end of the season. But I can't remember the last time he played 90 minutes. So I don't know when that is. So he's going to hit the ground running at Celtic. I don't know if he's going to be playing some games, and then obviously Taylor's still there, so he's going to be playing. If you're paying him that much money, he has to surely play every week. Are they going to try and transition him to a centre half? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes for
Yeah.
Celtic.
I think they're just trying to appease the fans a wee bit as well, aren't they?
And they've got the cash, so the guy's a legend. Still got a lot to give, surely. I think
Yeah.
he seems to be recovered from his injury, so you'd hope that he can, for his sake and for Celtic and for Scotland, he can kick on and have a full season ahead of him. And then, but yeah, it is an unusual signing for Celtic, as you say, given their transfer model of the past. But it's a bit
Yeah.
romantic, you got to go a bit sometimes with the heart,
I was going to say, I don't think this pace of football he'll maybe be getting injured as much, but that's not his style. He's ferocious no matter what level he's playing at, no matter who his opposition is. So, yeah, also the plastic pitches up here, I don't think that'll do much for his injuries. Obviously, you don't get that in the English Premier League. So, yeah, time will tell, but it seems to me like it is just one for the newspaper headlines more than anything.
Yeah, I don't think they need him. Like, definitely not. It's just a romantic signing. They've got enough experience in there. It would be different if they were getting rid of Callum McGregor and Schmeichel was going or whatever. It's completely different. But he's not a bad signing. Put it that way. He's not. But he's not going to be a centre half playing. As you said, 45 games a season. He'll probably play about 15. And he'll be on the table for the rest of it. So,
well, we hope not. From a Scottish perspective, want to see him stay injury free. But the main thing still to happen, I think, is there's two. Shankland doesn't look like he's staying at Hearts, from what I understand, and Lennon Miller's only got a year left on his contract at Motherwell, so they're probably going to want to cash in this summer. We can discuss Shankland maybe another time once we've got more detail on that. But Lennon Miller, where do you see his future lying, or where do you think it should go?
I think he has to move abroad, in my opinion. I'd love to see him, play for us, but I just, from his perspective, I don't see why you would. I just don't see why you would. You see the pathway that young Scots have taken, especially in Italy. You look at Ferguson, Gilmore, McTominay. Obviously, he's not exactly young, but you look at Doig, as well. You look at Aaron Hickey as well. Yeah, it's I would be angling for that kind of move, and for the type of player he is, I think he would suit that type of football very well. So if I was his agent, I would really be pushing for him to try and take that step in his career. If he moves to a Rangers or a Celtic, he's his progression to a big team in the Premier League down south is harder. Is definitely harder. I mean, you look at even Virgil van Dijk. He in my opinion, he probably could have went straight to a bigger team than he did. But it's not. We're not at that stage where Old Firm players are slipping into big teams like Liverpool or Manchester United or anything like that. Of that ilk. But if he moves to somewhere like, I don't know, Bologna or Napoli or something like that, and he does well, he would have the chance of a really, really big money move to a decent team down south if that is his ambition. So yeah, get out the goldfish bowl of Scottish football is what I'd say, and go to Italy.
Any difference of opinion, Matt? Are you on the
I
same
saw
view?
that Sunderland were interested in him. I think that would be an interesting move. They are obviously back in the Premier League. They play young players. They had obviously Joe Bellingham. He's gone to Dortmund. Got a number of other young players. They played them last season. I think their plan is to continue to have a young squad in the English Premier League. So I think that could be an interesting stepping stone to something bigger for Miller. I think he would get games at Sunderland. There's a space there with Bellingham being gone. And they're quite an exciting team. Obviously, it will be difficult being a young midfielder in the English Premier League, especially if you're playing for a team that's just been promoted. We saw how the team struggled. The newly promoted teams in the English Premier League struggled last season. So again, that could be risky. Could potentially be detrimental if he's playing a team that's losing a lot. But again, Sunderland will give him games, so he's got the chance to stand out and to make himself even more known to the other teams.
Yeah,
Good point.
I think if you look historically at the players, that the big English teams sign from, it's other English Premier League teams. So I think what you're saying, Andrew, is like if he goes abroad, he's got a good chance of doing that. I think if he goes to the Prem, to like a Sunderland, for example, like Matt says, that are going to play him from a young age, then that gives him the best chance of doing that. However, I'm on your side. I'd rather see him go abroad probably to have less pressure on him at an early age. I think it's the key thing because
Yeah.
I think he can
it's
handle
easy
it
to.
though. I think he's got that.
Oh yes, I think so.
He's a
Yeah.
monster
I don't want
mentality.
I don't want us to fall into the trap of what English fans and English media and pundits do, where they big someone up at age 17, 18 and expect the world from them, and then if they don't reach those heights, they're a failure. No, let him go and play his football. From what I've seen of him, which is this season's worth of football at Motherwell and the two Scotland games, he looks like he's the most exciting prospect I've seen at Scotland for a long time. McTominay came through it, like you say, at a later age. Gilmore was exciting when he was young at Chelsea and playing under Lampard, but I don't know. Lennon Miller, he's tall, he's physical, he's really confident, he's good with the ball, and he's a bit. I'm not going to make the comparison to Bellingham, but just with the way he is with the press, he's really grown up. He's really professional. He's got his head screwed on. That comes from his dad, obviously. I think having grown up with a professional footballer as a dad. So I just hope wherever he goes, he's got the right team around him to help him flourish, because I think he's the future for our Scotland midfield.
In a world where sponsorship is more accessible than ever, that world exists at sportsponsorship.co.uk. Whether you're interested in making a difference to your local community or further afield, or perhaps you're looking for access to tens of thousands of followers online to push your brand further than ever, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk. That's sportsponsorship.co.uk.
Enough chit chat about transfers. It's time to move on to everyone's favourite segment of the podcast, which is Home or Away, our weekly quiz. Andrew, you started last week. Matt, you're going to start this week.
Okay.
And the scores after last week's incredible comeback are 10-7 to Mr. Guild. So all to do for Matthew. Mm-hmm. And that was as well involving a cheating scandal, which
How
is
dare
still
you,
yet
mate?
to be proven.
I'm no Charles Ingram, son. I'm honest. For our younger listeners here, yeah.
Right, are you going to go home or away this week?
Away, please.
away for the second week in a row. It didn't end well for you last week.
I
But-
knew it, but I just couldn't remember it, you know? One of those.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah.
Righto. Clue number 1. And please remember this so I don't have to repeat it.
I'm writing it down.
You can do
An
it as well.
uncapped English midfielder who was a youth product at Man City from 2004 to 2015.
Uncapped English midfielder from Man City, 2004, 2015.
Youth product
Youth
at Man
product.
City from 04 to 15.
And played in Scottish football, clearly. That's the point of the quiz.
Yep.
Okay.
Any names you want to throw out? Anyone that you're feeling right now? Or is it a case of needing another clue?
Another clue, please, mate.
Another clue?
Yeah, please.
I'm not sure if this one will help, but it's worth 4 points if you get it at this stage.
Great, thanks.
This player won the Cypriot Cup with Omonia. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Any Cypriots listening? In 2023. Won the Cypriot Cup with Omonia in 2023.
Okay, an uncapped English midfielder who was a youth at Man City between 2004 and 2015. Won the Cypriot Cup with a team never heard of, 2023. Omonia. Is
2023.
that the one that Neil Lennon managed? Is that cup win?
Omonia. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. That could be a good
I'll
sweet
find out.
branch.
Can I have a third clue, please, mate? Just is that a bit more?
Just for the record, Neil Lennon did manage Omonia, but it was in 2022, so I'm not sure if Lennon actually won the
Oh, that
cup.
was close. That was close.
I got a point for
I
It's
thought you
also
were
an
onto
extra-
something there.
It's
extra point.
also an extra half a clue, really. This player has won the Scottish Premiership. He has a Scottish Premiership winner's medal. That's your final clue, worth 2 points at this stage.
Oh, I know exactly who it is, but hang on.
Has Andrew just given something away in saying that? Who knows?
Yeah, I think I do know who it is.
That puts pressure on Matthew, because if you don't get it, Andrew gets a chance to steal.
Okay, uncapped English midfielder from Man City, 2004, 2015, so it was 9 years. Cypriot Cup. Won the Scottish Premiership. I'd imagine it's Celtic, right? Because who else has won it, really? In the last 10 years? Nobody. When you're thinking, you can't really talk, because then you stop thinking about what you're thinking about, you know? Just
Well, then
talking.
stop talking and start thinking. I'll fill the gaps with some lovely singing. This is Chris Rea. Driving home for Christmas. I can't wait to see those faces.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Voice of an angel.
Driving in my car.
Right, come on. Fucking hell.
Yeah, there has to be a time run here, Matthew. If you've not got it by now, you're not going to get it.
We
Been a
got it
minute.
right.
Another minute? I
Another
don't
one.
think we have a minute.
Another one?
Not another one. This, if you're listening on Spotify, I urge you to go to YouTube and just look at Matthew's face whilst he's thinking about this. That was a sight for sore eyes.
Does this just go on forever?
Come on, come
I
on
have
now.
to get it back. I have to get it
Come
back. Give me one more clue.
Oh,
No.
come on.
That's not the game. Do you pass? Are you giving up?
I think I get like an hour to answer my question as well.
It's just going off.
Yeah,
I'm
you-
on a terrible run here. I'm actually on the Derby County season fucking run.
See, you were. This is embarrassing to admit, but you were my oracle of football knowledge before we
These
started
are
this
stumping me,
podcast.
man.
But
These are stumping me,
ever
these.
since we came on to
The clues are
to do
difficult,
this
you
in this
know?
quiz, well, game's the game. You went away. You should have gone home. You would have got that one.
Give me the home one then.
Nope. Are you giving up?
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna have to. I'm
Yes,
gonna have
I've
to
given
call it.
up.
Andrew, do you have any stabs?
How many points did I get for this?
2.
All right.
We'd open up a 5-point
I
lead.
think this is a man with one of the worst hairlines in Scottish football. Brandon Barker.
Brandon Barker is correct. Incredible work. Wow.
Brandon.
Matthew.
I didn't get it until the last one though, to be fair. But
He was
when
part of
you
the
said the
Rangers
Neil
team, right?
Lennon thing, well, yeah, he was part of the Rangers team. But when you said Neil Lennon, that
did-
then clicked because Neil Lennon signed him, and then he must have stayed on another season and won a trophy with
Matthew's
Onamia.
really gifted you those 2 points in a way.
He has actually, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
gonna
that's a
hurt.
really tough one, man. That's a tough
You've got
one.
to pray that you can steal back here, because if you don't, it could be. I know we're only in episode 5, but this could be curtains.
That's a good
Beef
question.
curtains.
Fucking.
Having said that, after week 1, Matthew had a 6-0 lead, so actually that makes it even harder to stomach. You're now 12-7 behind. It's 12-1. That's the. Oh my god!
I've had
Since
some,
episode 1,
I've
it's
had some
12-1.
tough questions, mate. It's the questions.
I would. You chose to go away. Andrew, are you going home or away? What's your choice?
Go away,
Going
Andrew.
home.
Oh, come on,
What's
you
your
coward.
poison? Going home. Clue number 1. An Irish striker with 9 caps and 0 goals between 2009 and 2014.
09, 14, Irish striker. How many caps did you say?
9 caps, 0 goals.
9 caps.
What are the
0
years?
goals.
Between 2009 and 2014.
Irish striker in the SPFL between 09 and 14.
Just let me know if you need a musical interlude. I can dive right back in.
09 and 14, so that could be him. So I'll write that one down first. Just trying to think of anyone else it could be. Although, was he later than that?
Chop chop.
Is it a guess or is it clue 2?
I'll go for clue 2 because I'm between 2 names at the moment, so I'm hoping this will help.
Clue 2 worth 2 points if guessed correctly. Won the English Championship with Sunderland in 2007.
I think it was him actually. It's a hunch, but
Gonna go for it?
it's not my first guess, which was on the first clue.
It would, if you did get it now, it would put you
Yeah.
on 14,
Mate.
which is double the number of points that Matthew's on. The bookies are loving this.
Are we having like a limit of episodes to see the winner? Is it like 10 or what's happening?
Till the end of the 2026 season, I would say.
Oh, so plenty
That'll
time.
be episode 52
slash cancellation by the network. Too risky.
Yeah, our sponsors pull the plug and
Right.
up Slack Alley. Do you want a third clue or do you want to have a stab?
I'm gonna have a stab. I am gonna be really. I've got 3 names, and I'll share them with you just now.
Oh, so if you get this wrong, Matthew could get one of the other 2
Actually,
names.
no, I'm not going to share it with you, but I'll share it after then. But yeah, good point. Thanks for
You're welcome.
that. I'm going to go for Anthony Stokes. Is who I'm going to go for.
Matthew
But-
looks outraged.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50.
Do you think that's right, Matt?
No, Andrew, I think you should go for your other guess.
Anthony Stokes is correct. Well done. Another 2
Nice.
points in the bag. The final clue would have definitely got it for you. Won the Scottish Cup in 2015-16.
He's on a
Yeah.
roll. He's on an absolute roll.
14-7 the scores. Well done.
I had John Daly initially, but then the dates didn't really match up properly, and then Killian Sheridan was in there as well as like a substitute name, and then
Nice.
I had Anthony Stokes just with the last Sunderland.
Yeah,
Jobby.
I don't think Dinty ever had Irish caps. I could be wrong and get slated by
Yeah,
United fans here, but I don't think he
Probably
did.
not. There you go.
No, neither did Will the Wisp, sadly. But yeah, that's 14-7 to Andrew, and I'm lost for words, which is not a good thing to be when you are the host of a podcast.
Yeah, it's on a pretty dismal run of form. Need to sack the manager and bring in the caretaker to give them a new manager bounce in my brain. So
What are you going to do midweek to try and get yourself out of this rut in preparation for next week's quiz, Matt? What's the tactic going to be?
nothing, mate.
You could have gone with the Strachan line of, I've got bigger things to worry about. For example, I've got a yogurt in the fridge at home that expires today. It goes out of date today. I'm going to have to go home and eat that.
You could give me easier questions, man, instead of these, ridiculous ones.
You've went away quite a few times, to be fair, though, haven't you?
Yeah, and also the 2 of the 3 away questions you've got, Andrew's got, so they can't be that hard.
Fucking, because he's an ex-Rangers player, obviously, this guy. Bark and Jokes, 2 ex-Rangers players, I mean, come on. Obviously he's going to know the answer.
To be fair, I didn't know Jokes actually played for Rangers, but yeah, Brandon Barker I definitely knew.
He's got a league winners medal, does he? How many games did he play that season?
Not a lot.
Not many.
I think he
did play a few.
Close to 20 because he has over 40 league appearances between Hibs and Rangers. I think it was 27.
I think he was at Rangers
Hibs
2 seasons though, was he not?
16 for. Oh, okay, maybe that's the case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was there at least 2 seasons. But
either way, you got it. He didn't.
Well done.
So
well done.
Suck eggs. But that's the end of episode 5. Fuck knows what we're going to discuss next week. We'll try and scrape something else together for your listening pleasure. But until next Tuesday, thanks for listening. We're on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, all the usual places that you get your podcasts. We're on social media. If you want a scrap, by the way, just jump onto social media. Everyone seems to be doing that with Matthew. Just slag him off as much as
Matthew's
you can.
Matthew's got an OnlyFans as well.
Yes, and Matthew's OnlyFans is at Matt Titties.
69.
I just can't remember his handle. But yeah, at Tin Pot Pod is where you'll find us on the socials. Until then, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.